Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, April the 11th. I hereby call the House Local Government Committee to order. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Representatives Alexander, Burkhart, Carr, Doggett, Hale, Haynes, Holsclaw, Love, Martin, McKenzie, Miller, Moon, Raper, Reedy, Rudd, Shaw, Slater, Stevens, Thompson, Vice Chairman Wright, Chairman Crawford.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do any of the members have any personal orders or announcements before we begin? Seeing none, today we have 7 bills that's on our calendar. We will hopefully be able to go straight down the line today and get these took care of. So we'll start with agenda item number 1, House Bill 1570. Got a proper motion? Is there a second? Proper motion and second on House Bill 1570 by Chairman Kumar. I have received a 2/3 majority resolution. Dr. Kumar, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This is a local bill from the city of Greenbrier in Robertson County, and it makes modifications or amendments to the city charter to revise the duties of the mayor, as well as to give the mayor a raise from $400 a month to $1,000 a month.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Are there any questions? Seeing none, without objection, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1570. Moving on to calendar and rules. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 2 today is House Bill 1538 by Chairman Kumar. Do I have a motion? Proper motion in second. I have received a 2/3 majority resolution. Dr. Kumar, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is also a local bill for Robertson County, and we are giving a raise to the highway commissioners from $500 a month to $525 a month. We are in a generous mood.
You have heard the explanation of the sponsor. Are there any questions? Representative Shaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Kumar, I was just looking at first when you gave a big raise. The second one, you didn't do much.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, without objection, we're ready to vote on House Bill 1538. Moving on to calendar and rules. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Moving on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Item number 3 today is House Bill 1566 by Representative Gant. Wow, I was trying to put you in there. We got a proper motion in second, and I have received 2/3 majority resolution on this. I do see we have an amendment on it. Can you please give us your drafting code?
7333.
That is correct. Do I have a motion on the amendment? Proper motion is second on the amendment. Does the amendment make the bill, sir?
It does. Yes.
Without objection, we'll go ahead and place amendment 733 on the bill. It's on the bill. You're recognized on your bill, sir.
Mr. Chairman, we came in together, and I'm a little bit taken back. You'd call me Grant, but
My tongue don't always work right for some reason.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Thank you. Committee and Chairman, the part of the amendment, if you will recall, this original version had impact fees that were included in the language, and we went back to the municipality and told them that it would probably not pass with that language in there. So we had them, we respectfully told them, you got 2 options. You can leave it in, obviously, or you can take it out, and more than likely it'll pass. So they agreed to take it out. And this version does not include the impact fees. So, but to be transparent, and since there has been a lot of questions about this particular charter change, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to read it into the record, and I'll be as brief and as quick as I possibly can. Section 1 says the board and mayor and alderman by majority vote of the full board shall have the power and authority to appoint and remove directors and/or department heads, including the town recorder. Department heads and town recorder serve at the pleasure of the board and may be removed at any time. Section 2, to discipline all directors and/or department heads and to appoint and remove all subordinate officers and employees in accordance with any personnel rules and regulations adopted by ordinance or resolution of the board. He may authorize any administrative officer who is subject to his direction and supervision to exercise these powers with respect to subordinates in that officer's department or office. Section 3, be it further enacted that the board shall appoint a town recorder who also may be appointed to the position of finance director. The recorder shall keep and preserve the town seal and all official records not required by law or ordinance to be filed elsewhere, to attend all meetings of the board and to maintain a journal showing the proceedings of such meetings. The alderman present and absent each motion considered, the title of each resolution and ordinance considered, and the vote on each question, and to prepare and certify copies of official records. The recorder shall maintain the Oakland Municipal Code in a current and usable manner and shall furnish the mayor of each alderman with a copy of said code upon his assuming office for his during his use during his term of office. Section 4, this act shall have no effect unless it's approved by 2/3 vote of the legislative body of the town of Oakland. Its approval or non-approval shall be proclaimed by the presiding officer of the legislative body and certified by such officer to the Secretary of State. Committee, thank you for indulging me and letting me read that into the record, and I move passage.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor, for presenting your bill and the thorough explanation. Are there questions of the sponsor? Hearing none, I think I've heard the question on the bill. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Bill passes, moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
Are we okay?
Yep, we're good.
Next item on the agenda today is item number 4, House Bill 835 by Representative Ritchie. Motion and second have been received. Does the amendment make the bill?
Chairman, I'm looking to withdraw the amendment and just move forward with the regular bill.
Okay. No amendment being presented. We have a motion and second, and I will be passing the gavel back to the chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative McKenzie had a question on the floor as we're making that move.
Okay. So the sponsor has asked that he not run the amendment 6678. So without objection, we will not run that amendment. We will take questions from the floor on the bill. Representative McKenzie, you're recognized.
Thank you,
6628.
Mr. Chair. I'm trying to understand what amendment you were speaking on. There's two I have, 6628 and 6309. Are both of those not riding with the bill?
No, so looking to withdraw 6628, which has not been added to it. In sub, we added 6309.
Okay. I've just been informed that we still need to put that on the bill. So proper motion and second on the amendment. All those in favor of amending House Bill 835, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Bill is now amended. This is Amendment 6309. You're recognized on your amended bill, sir.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. So after multiple conversations with the coordinator of elections, Mark Goins, and chatting with folks, we were looking at amending it with the one that we withdrew because after conversations, that department is already doing what section 1 is. All section 1 is stating is that we're going to change the word from may to shall, and they're already doing this particular activity. Section 2 is adding in to where we'll cross-reference through the SAVE database. And that was why we were looking to pull that off. But now that they've added a fiscal note on there to be able to hire an additional person, it doesn't make sense to pull that off to not have a fiscal note when that's being added on there. So what this bill simply does is it allows, or it will require the coordinator of elections to cross-reference the SAVE database. And in testimony and sub, what coordinator of elections testified on is that this isn't a silver bullet. Just because they run somebody through this particular database, it's not going to automatically preclude them or it's going to trigger anything, but it is one more safety step that the state has available to where we can make sure that only U.S. registered citizens are voting in our elections, as well as folks that are supposed to be voting here in the state of Tennessee. With that, Chairman, I stand for any questions.
All right, Representative McKenzie's recognized first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for bringing this bill. You know, I know in my county, we have issues with folks that live in the county trying to vote in the city. Will this address that as well, to make sure that only people within a geographical boundary can vote?
Representative Ritchie.
So this right here is authorized or requiring the coordinator of elections to do cross-reference checks to other agency. It could be another state or different election body to make sure that they're not registered in two different voting precincts.
Representative McKenzie for a follow-up.
Thank you for that. And my if I own property in Davidson County, but I'm representing here, I vote in Knox County, will this process check and verify that I'm not registered in both places? I know there's other things, but with this bill, also seek out individuals that do such things like that.
Representative Ritchie.
Thanks. So my understanding on what this actually does is it's looking at voter databases in other areas, and then it looks to see where your address of record is listed at. So that's where it's pulling up the information from.
Representative Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the main reason for the bill is to cross-check to make sure non-citizens aren't voting. Is that correct?
That's one component of it. The main purpose of it is to make sure that only individuals that are supposed to be voting in our elections are voting in our elections, and to have just some additional double checks to make sure that they're not registered somewhere else or that they're not flagged as being a non-U.S. citizen and trying to vote.
Representative Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there any statistics to show how many have been caught doing this, or people voting inappropriately or trying to vote inappropriately?
Representative Ritchie.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not sure exactly for the statistic, but if there's one person, that's one too many, especially in a lot of elections that are so close. Over there in Blount County, we had some local elections that were decided by 3 votes here in this last election. So just one person voting illegally is enough to cause concern for the integrity of our elections.
Representative Thompson, do you have a follow-up?
Just one real quick question, Mr. Chairman. Is there any way that all these checks could also prevent qualified voters from voting?
Representative Ritchie.
Thank you, Chairman. No, it's not going to preclude anybody who's qualified to vote in a precinct from being able to vote.
Okay, thank you.
Next on the list, I have Chairman Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and sponsor of this bill. I think that if my memory serves correctly, that maybe last year, the year before, this was something that was already in state law where it said shall, and it was changed to may. Does that sound correct?
Representative Ritchie.
Thank you, Chairman. So under Section 1, Chairman actually ran a bill that made it to where non-U.S. citizens aren't able to vote here. And during that bill, the coordinator of elections was going through some software technology updates. So it used to be that they shall do this. And then during that update, they were concerned that they didn't want to not complete that in time. So that was added during that particular piece of legislation. And now we're just reverting it right back to how it was before.
Chairman Doggett for follow-up.
Excellent. Thank you for doing this.
Next on the list is Representative Martin.
Thank you, sponsor. When you say they shall compare with statewide voter registration, that's just within the state of Tennessee. Am I correct about that?
Representative Ritchie.
So my understanding is it's inside of the state as well as outside of the state. So where it's saying those of relevant state agencies and county records, it's going to be for those inside of the state as well as any additional partnerships that are with other states.
Representative Martin.
So I get the idea of doing this within the state, but how can we have other states comply with our shall?
Representative Ritchie.
So on that particular thing, that is what was, I believe it was 2011 when it went into law to where it was a shall, and we didn't have any issues. It was only changed to a may last year to allow the coordinator of elections to be able to get the software in program. So based on how it's written, it was suffice for right at 12 years.
Okay, next on our list is Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Ritchie, based on the bill and the amendment, would the bill have anything to do with purging voters who have moved or purging voters?
Representative Ritchie.
Thank you, Chairman. So there's other laws in place as far as for going through the purging data. This right here is looking at voters that are registered to vote here in the state and cross-referencing that with between other agencies.
Representative Miller.
So is that a yes or no to my question?
Representative Ritchie.
It was they're going through and they're cross-referencing. It can be utilized to purge voters, correct?
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions for the
No, thank you.
sponsor? Any other questions? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 0835. Moving on to Finance, Ways and Means. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Bill moves on to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Chairman of the Committee.
Okay, next on the list is item number 5, House Bill 0933 by McKenzie. Got a proper motion and second. I do see it has a drafting code. Can you please give us your drafting code?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is 7296.
That is correct. Do I have a motion on the amendment? Proper motion has been made. Second on the amendment? I'll second it. You're recognized, sir, on your bill, or in your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment addresses exactly what you all brought up last week, and we had a really good discussion on it. And it basically makes it clear that there shall be no punitive measures taken against the person tasked by the high school to provide the information.
Any questions for the sponsor? Chairman Moon, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the sponsor, thank you for working on this. It's a good bill, but there's, like I said, last meeting, there's no reason to criminalize this act. So thank you for the amendment, Mr. Sponsor. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 0933. Moving on to.
I think you
Oh,
gotta
I'm
put the
sorry.
amendment.
Sorry. We need to place the amendment on there. All in favor of Amendment 7296, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. You're recognized on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the students were unable to attend this week, but they've informed me they're watching online. The teachers allowing them to just watch, laws being made and the laws that they had a lot to do with in terms of building. But this basically, I'll restate. It opens up a requirement without penalty that each high school just put a notification via a text message, via an announcement, via an email, just to say, hey, if you're turning 18, you may be eligible to vote. And this is the process that you go through. All of the language will be approved by the Secretary of State to make sure that there's consistency and there's no biases across these 95 counties and however many LEAs we have. So that's basically what the bill does.
Any questions for the sponsor? Question has been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 03933. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Moving on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Committee.
Item number 6 today, 468 by Representative Hemmer. The sponsor has asked that we take this off notice. Without objection, it's off notice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up is item number 7, House Bill 471 by Chairman Crawford. Have a motion and second. Having a proper motion and second, Chairman Crawford, your bill.
I do have an amendment. I don't know if it's traveling with the bill, or if we need to place it on there. Okay.
The amendment number,
3781, sir.
that's what I have listed. I hear a motion and second on the amendment. Does the amendment make the bill?
Yes, sir.
Since the amendment makes the bill, we'll be placing the amendment on the bill. All in favor of Amendment 3781, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The bill is amended. Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is dealing with personal property rights. When it was first brought to me, they give it the name, the Tennessee Landowners Bill of Rights. And what this particular bill does is, in the development context, an exaction is something that local zoning authorities require property owners to give to the community in order to obtain approval to develop land. The something can be anything: land, a portion of value of the land, money, such as mitigation fees or other property. This bill clarifies that an exaction cannot be a condition of zoning or permitting unless a connection exists between the use and the development of the land. In other words, if you're trying to build a new apartment complex here in Nashville, and they want you to build sidewalk to get your permit to do this, it's part of the contract, then they can't tell you to go 3 streets over and build the sidewalk. It has to be dealing with the piece of property that we're talking about. The second thing this bill does is it clarifies community benefit agreements. They cannot be required as a condition of zoning or permitting. The bill does not prohibit community benefit agreements being utilized as incentives, so it still allows that. And item number 3 it does is it clarifies the subdivision regulations are to be determined by applicable zoning ordinances as opposed to regional plans and approved by the elected legislative body, not the appointed planning commission. That's what my bill does, and I renew my motion.
Thank you, Mr. Presenter. Questions of the sponsor, Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And question on this bill. So if a landowner is turning his property, 30-acre property into 300 apartment units, and the street doesn't have a turning lane, and the local entities know that putting that much more traffic on that road is going to create a nightmare and needs a traffic light and or turning lane. Are you saying that they can't, that landowner has no responsibility for bearing some of the costs of that increase in traffic on that county road?
Chairman Crawford.
There has to be a connection that exists between the use and the development of the land and the required improvement to the infrastructure. In other words, it has to be part of the project that they're doing. And unless I'm wrong, and maybe legal can correct me if I am, the builder of the property, as he's building it, would be responsible to bring those up to Metro standards, Metro Council, and then they could turn it over to them for City Street.
Representative McKenzie, follow up.
Could I, to the chairman's question, is there any way that we could go out of session and ask legal that question?
Yes, we are going out of session to speak to legal.
Thank you,
Out of
Mr.
session.
Chairman. Josh Houston, Legal Services. Representative McKenzie, could you repeat your question so I can understand it?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so if there's a large development, a large complex, a large apartment complex coming to a 2-lane road, and putting those 300 additional units is going to increase traffic counts and congestion in that area. So whomever, the county commission, zoning, whoever says, hey, we need to have a traffic light, pick that one first, that's not on his property, on his or her property, or we need to increase this to a 2-lane with a turning lane in that area. My question to you, if that is the case with this increased traffic, would the developer landowner not have any responsibility to bear some of the costs of that improvement in county infrastructure?
Response from legal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, and as long as there is what is defined here as an essential nexus between a dedication or payment and a legitimate local governmental interest, which I would assume that traffic control and things like that would be a legitimate local governmental interest, then yes, that property owner could be required to pay that. And there is a process for the landowner to request and receive a written explanation of this essential nexus as well.
Representative McKenzie, a follow up.
Thank you for that. That definitely helps. So the second question is, and we've had this when I was on county commission, that there's a school on the back of the property, and there's a way to get a sidewalk to that school with this increase, but it goes off of his or her, own land. Another question is, so would the landowner not have any responsibility for building that sidewalk to the school since it goes off of his or her property?
Response from legal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh Houston from Legal Services. That would be a little bit more questionable as far as the essential nexus and a legitimate local government interest. So it's possible that would not, the landowner could not be charged for that part.
Representative McKenzie, a follow up. Other questions of legal services? If not, we're back in session. Are there other questions? Seeing no other questions been called on the bill. We are voting on House Bill 471 as amended. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion goes, bill goes on to Finance, Ways and Means. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, thanks for your hard work. I just want everybody to know that I've enjoyed serving as chairman on this committee. You guys always do great work. It's not the easiest committee to be on, but y'all have never let us down, not once, and I do truly appreciate your all's hard work. Before we close, does anybody have anything else? Chairman Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. More especially would I be proud to say that I've been on this committee the entire tenure of being elected to the Tennessee House of Representatives. It's my passion that we do local government right. That comes from a 10-year recovering county commissioner. Also, I'd like to give my thanks to the 3 vice chairs of this committee for their help in making sure that we, as full local government, attempt in all ways that we can, maybe sometimes not successful, but to do things right. Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the ability to serve on your committee.
Just a quick question here. If you would, please raise your hand if you've served on either the county commission or the city councils. Tennessee is in great hands, guys, because of the service that you provided to your local government is carried over here, and we don't have to send unfunded mandates. You all know how that affects our areas. So that's absolutely wonderful. Chairman Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I just want to say that I've enjoyed being a part of the full local committee and in our work on the sub with elections and campaign finance. And this was the first year that I've had the great honor of being able to serve on these committees. The work that we've done, and as we close, and some of the other committees that I've had the privilege to serve on, the chairman generally will take the entire committee out for lunch on the day that the committee closes. And so I was curious to know as to what
I
time
hope
and what
everybody likes
location.
Crystal. Representative Shaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just for privilege of understanding, will this be a subject to the call of the chair? Because I know that I got a late private act. I just got word it went on notice.
Okay.
So will this be the close of the meeting because subject to call of the chair?
Yes, sir, it will be.
Thank you.
When we finish. Representative Raper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd be remiss if we didn't thank our support staff. So I'll let the chair do that. But anyway, I sure want to applaud them, the job they've done.
Yeah, this year we've had a topsy-turvy for sure, and we thank Will Walker for stepping in and helping us some with the research. And of course, it's wonderful to see our research analyst back with us today. And then my new assistant here who has just come in and got through to a full committee chair. So he's worked really hard, very proud of him. But everybody knows for sure that this committee is what it is because of the hard work of Trish Enigan. She is the backbone. She keeps us all straight. So. All right. Well,
oh yeah, Josh here, he does something too.
You mean I'm going to have to, we'll go out. No, I'm kidding. And Josh Houston, who puts in more hours in a week probably than we do in 2 weeks. So Josh is absolutely great and he keeps me straight. And then we got our clerks and Ruben down there taking care of us. It's wonderful to be able to come in here and be able to kid around and have a good time. But when it's time to get serious, you guys get serious. So before we close, does any members have any announcements or personal orders? Seeing none, I will recognize Chairman Wright. Close call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're closed, subject to the call of the chair.